Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave Daily Update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Monday, August the 26th, 2024. I am going to start on the S&P 500 on the futures market, and I'm here on the hourly chart, and I've cleaned off a lot of things because I kind of want to talk about what I see and what I believe we are likely involved in here. Now, at least in the S&P, and we'll go over that again in the NASDAQ because they kind of differ a little bit. But I can keep both intact in terms of having the quality or the potential to either be finished with minor wave 4, as I'm showing here, and this being 1, 2, 3 in a minute degree of a minor fifth wave up, which leaves us with a minute 4 to complete and then a minute wave 5 to finish minor wave 5 and then intermediate wave 3. So these are both very viable. And what it really spells out is the following. If I look at the other count that has just as much potential as the one I just stated, would be that we have minor wave 3 done, no problem. Then we have an ABC down, that's wave A of this minor 4. And what we're finishing up is the B wave, and that would be counted as follows: A, B, and then we're coming up on a C wave, so we still have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're still within this fifth wave. Or the 4 moves up to here, and the 4 moves into where we're doing now, and we still have a fifth wave. So in either case, under either we're going to go up and possibly go to new all-time highs, or we're in the A and we're still in the B wave, but it continues to carry the potential to go flat or stay within the flat family in terms of structures, which includes irregular B. And if it is such, then I will show you what that would look like. I need to put those in. So that's where we're going to go first. I'm going to put those fib levels in, and they would, first of all, I'm taking out everything else because it's not in play. But these could be in play, and they're going to be of the minute degree. So we're going to go like that. I'm going to go like that. And so what we have up here, let's start over again. I'm going to bring it back down to the hourly chart. I don't need to be on the 4-hour. I can be on the hourly. So once again, what we're looking at is the potential. I'm sorry. Now I know why I was on the 4-hour chart. Excuse me. So we have that potential where this is only wave A, minute wave A, and we're still in this minute B wave. And we cannot rule out right now, because we're up so far, we exceeded 0.786 here in the S&P. So that only leaves 100%. Before we drift into, okay, what is it? Is it going to be a 3-4 and we're in that fifth wave? Or could it be an irregular B, which would suggest we have the possibility of getting up to 58.63 at as high as 59.50 before coming back down again to finish a C wave of the minor fourth wave and then go up one more time. Now, what makes more sense to me in terms of timing, to what's coming up, to what actions are going to be happening, and what is now perceived to, if the Fed cuts in September, the market may rally initially, but historically, if we just look back, you get that euphoria, we've made it, we started the slow decline in rates, right? The slow easing. And or nothing, but let's just take it that they actually do cut us the first break and we get the rates are lowered. Then I think initially, yes, we might see a spike, but then the reality sets in and it's not really a bullish thing. And we just go again, look at history of what happens during those times. And we do decline. Now, what that could fit on an Elliott basis is that we are in that fifth wave, we get up there and it's done. And then it completes not only is minor wave 5 complete, but intermediate wave 3 is complete, and we come really, that first cell will not be a good one. It'll be hard and it'll be severe, and it wouldn't surprise me to see at that time to see a shift from positive gamma atmosphere to a negative gamma atmosphere. If it turns that deep, then we are heading back, and we are likely, yes, I will say. But don't forget, first, if we're going to complete a minor wave 5, first, we have to make new all-time highs. Now, that being the case, the first line in the sand is right here at 5,800. The second line in the sand is up here at 6,200 in that area above. So that's under the minor 5 being complete. Back to the other, and I'm sorry because I am flipping pretty quick and I apologize. If this is minute A and this is going to be a minute B wave, which would include the possibility for an irregular, and here are those levels. So the levels are 58.63 to 59.51. Or even above this, but in between also works. Whether it gets all the way up here also works. The fact that it gets up above 57.21 is going to be important. How far above 57.21? Don't know, can't say. So, but these are what I'm looking at. This is what I'm looking at. Now, if we just kind of come down, now this is a 4-hour chart, so now we've looked at both. The possibility that under an irregular, we would come up here and then come back, but come back down to this area, probably go give it down at 50-50, not 50-50 chance, 5,050 comes into play, all the way down to 5,000 comes into play. And that would be from where we are, or even up here, a pretty steep and severe drop in the S&P, and extremely tradable. So no matter what, whether it's going to be an irregular B and we come back down, or we're going to go up in a minor C and we're going to put in an intermediate third and come back down in an intermediate fourth, I don't care which one, it will be extremely tradable. And it should be extremely profitable, because we'll get more of these. We're just going down and we're doing it quick type moves. And that will come when that narrative, when that atmospheric change happens from positive gamma to negative gamma. It'll be a whole different trading world. Okay, more on that if and when it happens. So here we are. Now, I'm going to bring this down because I have to tell you, when you break it down and you're looking at the hourly chart, really, I can keep this 1, 2, 3, or I can keep it A, B, and we're looking for the completion of the C wave, of minute B wave. So those two still in progress. So yes, we are still, even if I'm labeling this A, B, this would be 1, 2, and the 3 would shift, and the 4 would shift, and the 4 would still be in play. And here's why. So basically, we just need to look from here, right? We're trying to determine, are we going to go down from here? And what does that suggest for this? Or is it still a fourth wave? And then what can we look for? Now, 1 hour chart, we're going to open it up. And really what we got, this will end up being a 5. This is not. And this obviously is not. And this obviously is not. And this is working out to be, I believe, 5. So what can all of this be? Very corrective. A 5, 3, and a 5. Corrective. A, B, C. Within the minute wave 4, and then we go up again. Or the minuet wave 4. Either way. So if I pull this out again, remember this 3, if the whole move itself is a minute C wave, a minuet C wave is a part of a minute B wave. It's pretty small in terms of the structure, which again puts it over to the side just slightly, because we've seen bigger moves and they're coming in minuet degree. So don't get me wrong, but I get caught up in the degree because of how small the degree is, but how vast the moves are. Okay, so putting that aside, this would be a 3, we'd be working through a 4. We'll talk degree at some other point. So within it, we've got that 5, 3, 5. Let's drop it down to the 15, because you're going to see that this is not pretty and difficult to kind of figure out. But you can see how glaringly from here to here, it is not 5 waves. It is not a triangle pattern. It is actually, even in my mind, it's not even a diagonal. It's very difficult. So I break it and I call it an A, a B, and a C. And these are like a lot of 3s in here, which make this a little bit more difficult, but the C could be a diagonal. As ugly as it is, as ugly as it is. So how we're trading and what we're trading and the speed at which you're trading, the volatility and et cetera, those are all really running against these, contributing by producing cleaner Elliott patterns. Doesn't mean it's uncountable. So again, S&P, what am I looking at up here? I think this is all corrective. So I would go with that under the guise of the, I think the stronger of the counts for this market would suggest that we're going to go A, B, C, and it's going to be a wave 4. Only other way I can count it is to move it up, and this is a 3, and this is a 4 of a lower degree, and then we still have a 5th wave up. Now, if we're going to move this down, I have a lower degree, and we're going to be looking for a C wave down. What is this then? Well, I think it could almost be, that could be the wave 1. It could be A, because this looks like 5, doesn't it? This could be A. This is also looks like 5. So what you got going on is 1, A, B, C, 2, 1, 2. Now it's possible, but you can see how we're left, right? The Globex opens in 50 minutes. And you're like, well, if it kind of goes up, what is that? Well, it could be. Well, if it breaks that, then this is left as 3. And we're off to some other, doing another 5. It would have to be some form of a 5 waves up. And that, when you're trying to put it into this, you're like, whoa, what is it? So even when I pull it out to the hourly, you're going to have to really, not necessarily be creative, but you really got to dig. You really have to look. It is going to be possible. Now, let's just assume that it is going to finish a 4th wave, and not up here, but below here. So I'm going to bring that back down. What do we have? We have 55.51. Now, that is kind of an important level because, and it may change. This is the one thing that does change, and it is a little bit more fluid, and that is the money flows or just the flows, particularly the gamma flows, where things build up because options trade and they can change a position. So we have to stay open. But right now we have 55.50 is a level that, if broken, which may, I believe today it was a volatility trigger. And let me just take a look at that. I actually took that screen down. So yeah. All right, no problem. But there was either a volatility trigger there or there was a larger gamma sitting there. And for all I know right now, they're short puts because below that level, they get longer. So if it breaks, it could, and it's a volatility trigger, it throws it into that sell mode. And that would drive us down to 54.80 in terms of where the next support would be. And that could still be within a 4th wave. My first thought is that the higher level is going to be more in line with what the pattern's kind of showing us. This to kind of fall apart and drop all the way down to here from up here. Possible, yes, But then it makes take a stand back and makes it more look like this is a 1 and this is a 2. And then we're falling in a third. So, and then we're going back to assuming that this level possibly completed that B wave. And now we're coming down in a C wave. So we're going to drop back to the lows that we saw on August, well, a week ago. And then finish wave 4. So we get a trip back to like 5,100. But you see how it's going to putting itself in 1, 2, way up here. To go all the way down here, don't know. Something has to come up, something has to happen. But Wednesday, what do we got? We have NVIDIA. And there's a coin toss, right? Money is the money is supposed to be good. They're supposedly, making a lot. They're supposed to spending a lot, all kinds of things. So NVIDIA is ramping itself up to just kind of, I guess, take over or do whatever they're going to do to keep whatever is going on, which is fine. But who knows what's going to come out, how it's going to come out, and what the market reaction is going to be. Because we are now moving into that. The end of this week, Thursday, we got PCE. We got other data that's going to come out that's going to lean the narrative more towards, hey, the Fed in September, right? What they worry about right now, okay, what they're worried about is employment, the employment numbers. Anything to do with employment. So we're taking the focus off of inflation and we're putting it onto employment, which may or may not. They want to see a continued, fairly robust employment market, people working. And so the jobless claims could start to swing things now. Before, we were looking for them to increase to help, start to bring the rate down. Now, who knows? Here we are. Now, both sides being represented. We're in a 4. If we come down to here and we hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we hold in this area, and don't forget, we should be getting support hourly, getting support from the hourly 200, which is at 55.84. And then we have 55.51. And then we have 54.80. And if it starts breaking below there, well, then we're going to start to swing it back to B wave being done, and we're coming back down. If it holds here, then we have the possibility still of both. And that would come via, if this 3 is up here, and this is just still a 4, and we have a 5, to complete this minute B wave, then we go down. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete the C. And then put the B on top of it and then drop back down to these levels. All right. Now, moving averages, they're a mess. But let's start at the daily, which let's see what the daily even looks like. Yeah, see, it really looks like 3. So no matter what, the daily's kind of also leaning towards, well, this should just be A, B, C. Back down to here, maybe down to here. So the daily agrees, and it's still in alignment to go up. So the damage, if they can hold it above here, would be that it comes down, breaks the 13. Yeah, that should be expected. Holds that level. So the 20 goes flat instead of being broken. The 50 goes flat, and this remains pretty much the same. And we go up again. And then we'll see. So bottom line here is that all of this stays in place until the market tells us. Trading wise, we will have enough information from the market during the trading day to kind of put levels on. So if I'm looking for this 4, here are my levels. Now, again, what we'd be looking for, if it is going to be a wave 4. Is we're going to go here, nah, come on, here to here, and let's just call it here, 55 to 51. So what do we got going on the upside is right there, not that much higher, 5,700. I can see it behind there, then 5,799. So with the 100%, right? So in other words, 4, and then we get a 5, 62%, 5,700. 100%, which is most common, we're back, we're getting ready to touch 5,800. And it could do that. And that does take it up there. And both sides could work. It could be finishing a 5th wave in terms of putting the B up there, and it could be finishing a 5th wave in terms of putting minor 5 up there. Now, minor 5, by most counts, people are feeling is going to end up here to here. That's what most people are probably would be looking for. We're going to take it day by day. But those levels remain right where they are. And the only one I'll take off is that 4, because that hasn't happened yet. Those are just kind of like indications. All right, let's go over and take a look at the NASDAQ, which is much heavier down day in the NASDAQ than we saw in the S&P. S&P was fair, but here it was a lot more. Now, again, I don't want to start on the daily. I will start on the 4-hour and then open it up on this level so that we can see the mosh pit, so to speak. Now, because I've got everything still lined up, and so, but I want to start to go through it. This still has a lot of room. So this, you'll see, still kind of fits in with 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is going to be 3. 1, 2, 3 up here, 4 over here in progress, because we're still working that minute B wave. So within it, that we're going to come down to a C wave and surpass this now, right? So the 4 isn't done. This is minute wave A of 4. This is minute wave B of 4, and we come down to the C wave. Currently, as this is, and trust me, it has just as much power to do just that as does the S&P. Now, if it goes up one more time to put in a 5th, and we end up here or even up to here, the difference is going to be is the S&P may go over and head up into irregular territory while the NASDAQ doesn't, but the end result will be the same. In that case, or in either case. So in the NASDAQ, if this is going to be a minor 5th wave, we would be expecting it to go above 20,983 or 984 to new all-time highs. And we have markers up here where it could, even in its current iteration. So if we're looking at an irregular B, no. I can't, and let me take that back. You can never say no to the NASDAQ, right? So, but I would not be looking for that. I would rather be looking for a clean minor 5 waves up. We come back in a minute 4, and then in the minute 5, we also subdivide a couple of times. And we do that, we can make a new high. So, and again, Wednesday, we have NVIDIA's earnings. Does Elliott ever specify it's like, well, it should be a high that walks itself up there, but we've also seen where it's a high that spikes up and then just goes, thank you, that's all we needed, and comes flying back down. And sometimes if you're using a line chart, you count it, you don't count it, because unless the body of the bar stays up there, and then the new bar also begins up there and then drops, you could use a line chart, which is on a closing basis. So wherever the bar closed. So we'll work on it if it should happen. But there's plenty of ways for the NASDAQ to get above 21,000 and complete a minor fifth wave. Now, to tell you the truth, if this is AB, 1, 2, and then I would put the 3 there and a 4, and we'd still have a fifth wave. So again, at least a flat, but I still am really against calling this a 5-3, a 3-3-5, because to me this is definitely a 1, 3, 4. Well, that could be the whole thing. Now it didn't work, did it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we did an ABC along with it's a little irregular, just in the other direction. That was the B. And we had 5 down for wave C. So this, I think, is fitting the Elliott because it's the S&P that did 3, not necessarily the NASDAQ. So here we are. And we're still holding to it. So I am more in tune still to say this is a 4, and we're working through another smaller 4, and that we're going to go up in a 5, and we should at least get closer. Now, again, because the NASDAQ is kind of showing more weakness than anything else, but I think because of, people making adjustments in NVIDIA, the narrative, the talk, da, 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 da. So just a lot of position squaring going in front of Wednesday's release. So, and then of course we got Friday's PCE and Thursday's initial jobless claims. So things are coming out this week. Now, here, I'm going to come down off this 4-hour chart. I'm going to go down to the hourly chart. Let's take a look again. I'm leaving this all as is, right? And in fact, you know what? That is a 5. I'm going to, because when I take the chart out, it just gets a little bit too congested. So I'm going to take this out, leave that triangle up so that we realize it was a diagonal. And now we've got the 3 and the 4, the 3 and the 5, excuse me. Let me put that up just a tad there. And then we get that. How about that? 5 hourly. All right, so pull this down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's leaving the 4 there. And what we're coming down is this 4th wave. But this is under the also equally weighted count that we completed minor wave 4, and we're rising up in a minor 5th wave, and we will go to new all-time highs. So under that basis, we're just doing a minute wave 4, and it will be minute wave 5. That will extend more beautifully. Or the 3rd wave is extending now, right? Because I can go 1, 2. I've always had a little bit of a problem here, not huge, but we've moved a 3 up, and this is the 4 on a minuet degree. So minuet wave 4, and then we have a minuet wave 5 to complete the minute wave 3. Or a B, and it completes the minute wave B. And we come back down to this level. That's the one that doesn't pair very nicely with the S&P going up and maybe going to a new all-time high. So I think that we may see some catch up, and we may have to wait till Wednesday. But right now, I'm going to bring it down to the 15-minute chart, and let's look inside, because we thought the S&P was giving us a headache there on what looked bad. Let's check this one out. All right, so there again, there's the 5 and the 3 right there as we have it. So this puts us in a minute wave 4. This I can do as 5. I'm okay with it. It's a little sloppy down here, but I'm okay with it. This, nasty. And you can see it's all Globex. It's all Globex. General trend is up, but all Globex. Here we finally get the moves. So this to me is A, B, and I'm not sure what all of this is. Because if I have to go A, B, and this turns into a C, that just really, I'd have to put it there, and this is like 1, 2, 3, 4. They overlap, 5. It's very weird to say that it's an ABC. Now, possible that because it could be a running correction, and then, but what's that? So you see, this gets to be, this could be an ABC up. This turns into an irregular A, B, C. So this going up to here, A, B, C, maybe. A, B, C, irregular. Of what? I don't know. And then an A, B, C. This really looks like it's developing into 5 waves. So you kind of have to think, okay, A, B, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we drop into 3, right? A, B, and we're in the C wave. It's very difficult, but I'm going on the basis that we're putting in a C wave. So here we have that these are the fibs where wave C would be equal to wave A. And that's right there at 19,416. I do think we should get down there because even if I come up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking 19,416 should not be that big of a problem. And that pulls us right into here in this 0.236, right? We go back out to the hourly, and where does that come in? That comes in on the minute fourth wave, 236. We're kind of looking for the same level, 236, in the S&P. Now that would keep intact a stronger view that the market will go up to above 20,000 here in the NASDAQ and possibly above 21,000. And what does that suggest? God only knows, right? Because people want to attach something to it. And I'm going to just keep it to, no, it's kind of what the pattern could indicate, what the fibs would suggest if it did. And we let the market tell us, because to say, oh yeah, that's what's going to do, and then the market's going to go flying higher. Somebody doesn't like that and leaves messages about, oh, you're always wrong, you're always this, you said it was going to go up. It's like, no, I'm saying it has the capability of going up. And if it does it, it could be fast. What do we got coming up? Well, we got NVIDIA earnings. All that means is at that moment, when those earnings are released, the market's going to say, oh yeah, good, boom, and run. But those are algorithms. And when the reality sets in, it could be the opposite. So we could get a spike, be all done. Right now, I'm focused on this. From here, you can kind of see A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It fits, it's nice. It is clean on the hourly. On the 15-minute, it's not, but we can count it as such. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're just stuck in this sideways move, again, going back down to the 15-minute. But you can see the pattern. For a while today, because I was trading during this period, this looked like A, this looked like a B, and then I thought, okay, the C wave should come up and take that out. It didn't, and started to go back down. So you go back and you take a look, because that's a very nice 3 wave. And this actually turns into 5. On the 15 minutes, you got to go with a little bit of a stretch, but if you actually traded it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, tough call. It could be A, B, C, B. And we're still going to do the C wave up to complete this. Or it's A, B, C. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and overlaps. So it makes it more difficult. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a C. A, B, C of what? Right? So I know people have really asking me about, could it be this ABCDE type triangle? It 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 could be anything, but I wouldn't look at it that way because of where it's coming from and what this looks like. And it has to actually, if it's going to be diagonal, it has to actually be diagonal. If it's going to be a triangle, it really should wedge. And I don't see that. There are a lot of threes in here. Don't get me wrong. Yes, a lot of threes, but it's not wedging. So anyway, I do think that I'm going to come back out to the hourly chart. And if we're just looking at it, I have 486 and then 416, 486. It's been not quite. Not quite. The low today was 505. And I think, did we get any lower right there? No. So 19,505 was the low. We have 486, which could complete it. Could. If we've got one, two, three, four, five done, or five done. But that's another 300 points. But then again, today, it was down 42. So you never know. And it was actually down way more than that. That's kind of on the rebound. All right. Let's go out to the daily and let's take a peek. So we've got levels, we've got thoughts. Now we can look at it on a daily and see, wow, we got upside and downside pretty pegged. I'm really not looking for this unless we're way off and this B is done and it's a 1, 2, 3. But there's battles against that because these internals don't really work. But it could be A, B, C, put a 4 down there, and then we start to go, excuse me, 1 second. Scratchy throat. And then it could be a 4, and then we race up in a 5. And could it then be, and then I'm going to look for the 4, and I'm going to look for a minute wave 5, and I'm going to look for it to get as close as it can, if not above. Otherwise, if it doesn't and it keeps going, then it could be A, B, and we're working a C wave down. But again, under that count, I'm looking for it to hold in this area, maybe a little lower, and then rally back up to new all-time highs, and then come down again. Okay. Moving averages. You see what? They get ugly again. So now we have the 20 went above the 50 and got just sideways, got stuck and goes sideways. Still above, but barely. So doesn't gonna take much to turn it negative again. This is an interesting little, pattern. We'll see what happens here. And then we have the 200 down here, which is flat. 18,505. Flat, flat. 50 is flat. So it should provide some support. So we do have support at, let me see what that level is. 93.76, 19,376. The 20 is sitting at 19,400 right now. So we got 16, we have 86, and if they hold, it could be enough. Put a 4 there, and we start on a 5. All right. That's going to be it for today. Now, tomorrow, economically, we have not much. S&P Case Shiller Home Price Index at 9 a.m. and consumer confidence at 10 a.m. That's it. The bigger day will be Thursday, where we start to get initial jobless claims, U.S. Trade balance in goods, retail inventories, wholesale inventories, GDP, the second revision, pending home sales, and a Fed president out speaking. And then Friday is PCE. All right, next update, Tuesday, August the 27th.